Hello everyone and welcome back to another Dragon Ball Legends video. My name is DFree. Here today we're going to be doing a two-part video series, so be sure to come back tomorrow for the gameplay. For this one we're going to be doing a setup where we're going to take a look at and talk about some of the pros and cons of each of the transforming characters in the game. And again, in the next video tomorrow, we're going to try to put them all on the same team and kind of go from there, for better or worse, right? So anyways, hope you guys enjoy, of course. Hit that subscribe if you're new for more content. For today's question of the day, let me know in the comment section down below how you guys would rank these transforming units. And as far as Shallot is concerned, you can rank, I guess, his Super Saiyan 1 and 2. At the moment, he has those. In the future, he probably picks up more. Now, Shallot's biggest couple of issues are, for one, he is a hero character, which a lot of people are really adamant that he should become an extreme or a sparking. But my stance on that is that it doesn't really matter if his stats are good. The issue with that is that, well, his stats are not that great overall. As far as like his hero form is concerned, the stats are just not that good. He's got 80k. I guess that's not bad, right? This isn't bad under the line overall at 4-star currently. There we go. Those aren't bad. But really what happens is he needs 10 counts to be able to transform into Super Saiyan 2, and that 10 counts feels like an eternity if you have him out there. Now, obviously, there is some ways to play around that. You can bring him in off a switch, but it just kind of inhibits the Super Saiyan 2 form's flexibility because in Super Saiyan 2, he has a lot of switch bonuses that he applies to allies, including but not limited to other Super Saiyan 2 characters. So if you're forced to bring Shallot in off of a switch, and then from there, you've already used one of your switches, you can only go into one other character unless you just exhaust the timer count remaining on the other character you just came from, right? So naturally, it'd be pretty good to keep your options open to start off with Shallot and then switch, transform and then switch if you're looking to do that. Now, that, like I said, it does feel like an eternity. He takes so much damage, he basically melts to every other unit in the game because this form doesn't have any sort of damage mitigation. This is something that they actually considered when it came to this Vegeta, where when he enters the battlefield, whether it's base form or his transform state, he has a damage reduction. So that is one thing they can give this Shallot for when he enters the battlefield for the first like 10 counts. Just give him something like that so he doesn't just completely melt. I don't think Shallot's going to get any sort of buff anytime soon, but we'll see what happens. Now, in Super Saiyan 2, the thing about Shallot is that his stats see a massive upgrade. Now, I guess we can't really see that here, but his numbers jump way up in Super Saiyan 2 state, well over 100,000 in some stats, and he's actually very good. And this is why I said it doesn't matter if he's an EX or a Sparking, because the stats are good, and I'm going to presume that Super Saiyan 3 and any other forms he could potentially get will have stats that are at least among average numbers for the Sparking characters in that rarity, right? So it doesn't really matter what his rarity is if he's got good numbers. Am I making myself clear? Anyways, that being said, that's just my stance. You can disagree. Anyways, now, Super Saiyan 2's best viability, he's a little bugged on the site. His best viability, though, is his unique abilities. So his main ability gives allies a bonus to strike attack. So that's very nice to have overall alongside strike characters, right? But the best thing he does is plus 70% of damage inflicted when 2 allies are defeated. So he gets a 70% damage bonus when 2 allies are defeated. On top of that, the following effects occur according to the number of timer counts elapsed with the current character. For 5 counts, he gets a 30% damage received bonus. So after 5 seconds, basically, he's able to take. And this is kind of what I was talking about. Now, 5 seconds, this resets after switch. So again, for the first 5 counts, he's not the most tanky unit, even in Super Saiyan 2. It could feel like an eternity, so keep that in mind. After 10 counts, he gets a 50% strike damage bonus. That, coupled with the main ability, coupled with a potential 70%, makes Shallot a very powerful offensive unit, right? We're going to take a look at the second unique for the Super Saiyan 2 form. Applies the following effects to allies when this character is switched to standby. This applies to any character in the game. Plus 25% to strike damage and plus 35% to ki recovery. Also applies the following effects to allied Super Saiyan 2 characters. So if you go out into a Super Saiyan 2 character, they get those first 2 buffs, but also get a 25% damage bonus and 30% crit rate bonus. So you have basically a Super Saiyan 2 version of Bardock with a little bit more flexibility because Bardock is relegated specifically to Super Saiyan 1 characters, while Shallot can be alongside any character. So keep that in mind too, and we'll see what happens ultimately with him. I do think at some point they'll probably just drop a new version of Shallot, but ultimately biggest deficiency for this character is the limited flexibility by needing to basically be a switch character, which is not a bad thing. I like switch characters in general in this game. They're always pretty good support type units. He also is good in the last man standing type of role because of damage bonus. Biggest issue with him though is base form. Alright, we're going to go ahead and take a look at Kaioken Goku. Now Kaioken Goku actually suffers from a lot of what the Shallot suffers from. nowadays, he just kind of melts, man. He takes a lot of damage nowadays. Again, stats are pretty solid, I'd say, at 5-star if you have him there. But other than that, he just, again, takes a lot of damage. So when he transforms, he actually has a timed transformation. It only lasts for 60 counts, keeping true to the thematics of the Kaioken form. Other than that, in his base form, he gets a 15% to strike damage inflicted for 20 counts every time own attack is evaded with a vanishing step. So, like, he gets a stacking strike attack bonus whenever his attacks are dodged, which is interesting to say the least. Very unique, I'd say. Kaioken times 3's toll. If special arts are used during transformation, the following effects activate when the transformation ends. Plus 30% of damage received by self. 30% of damage received by self. And minus 30% of the damage inflicted by self. And minus 30% of own key recovery by self. Yeah. So if you use a green card while you're transformed, when the transformation ends, he gets nasty debuffs. Nasty debuffs. He takes more damage, does less damage because, again, they're keeping true with the thematics. His body is taking a toll on him. He can't do anything if you guys remember the fights, pretty much. So that being said, it's not that great, right? So when he transforms, though, again, very good strike unit overall. Does a lot of strike damage in that scenario. He does draw a special arts card. Now, you have to be able to basically win the fight within that 60 counts. Nowadays, it feels like some matches generally go a little bit longer. Also, this guy isn't able to take advantage of some of the switch bonuses that other characters are able to take advantage of on this list, like coming off of a switch from Bardock or even Shallot as a Super Saiyan 2, for example. Some of the characters can take a little bit more advantage of stuff like that. He's not able to really do that. He can take advantage of some of the bonuses from Switch characters, but not as much, right? The following effects will last for 20 counts after activating transformation, plus 35% to own Vanishing Gauge recovery, and minus 20% to damage received by self. So he takes 20% less damage, and he recovers his Vanishing meter 35% faster. And that's very good, especially when coupled with this equip right here. This one actually has the ability to do bonus Vanishing Gauge speed for its slot 3. So overall, that's his most redeeming quality, is that he's got a lot of Vanishing Gauge restoration here. Also, the green card helps to restore the Vanishing Gauge. Just stuff like that, man. He's got a lot going on here. Not a spectacular unit by any measure anymore, but overall, again, biggest efficiency is that, well, if you kind of can't beat the enemy in that time period, he's just going to go into being a very poor unit. Very poor. All right. Now, his biggest issue, this guy off the top, is that he probably just needs to be alongside Gohan, which that's not a big deal. Like, it just limits his flexibility, but it's not really a big deal overall. We're going to take a look down here. After 10 counts, he goes Super Saiyan. Other than that, he gets a damage bonus whenever he's alongside Gohan. Another damage bonus for Gohan as a battle member. Defeated Gohan. It's just all Gohan stuff, which, again, thematics for the character, it makes sense. But I do want to point out that just for him and any other character that you've looked at so far, he will take a bit of damage, a good portion of damage early on before transformation and his stats going up. So we go ahead and take a look at the Super Saiyan form. In Super Saiyan, he's actually very solid, I'd say. Can do a ton of strike damage just in general. So if you use him ideally alongside Future Gohan as he was designed to be used, you got to keep in mind that he actually has a very high ceiling because he's going to have a lot of damage bonuses because of this Future Gohan being KO'd ultimately. So he draws a Special Move Arts card built into his main ability and plus 30% of the special move damage inflicted. So drawing a blue card and then bonus damage overall to it. Also 15% to damage inflicted per defeated battle member, and he also gets 30% to key recovery when a Gohan is defeated in this battle as a team member. So if he's your last man standing, he's getting 30% and then 30% key recovery. Also, when Gohan is a battle member, he gets 30% strike up. And then also, if you're using Future Gohan, again, do consider the strike and all that stuff you're going to get from Future Gohan. You don't need to necessarily use him. You can use any other character. But I do think that he gets a lot worse if you don't have Future Gohan, just in general. So that is one of the bigger knocks on him, is that he mainly is designed to be used alongside that character, which, again, thematically makes sense. Now, we look at Broly, who I don't see Broly as often in PvP, but still a phenomenal unit. You know, I don't think he really has any flaws too much. I don't think there's really anything wrong with Broly in general. And I think from here on out, there's not really any flaws with the units that are on the left on this list as the newer units, as the more meta-dominant units, good units in general, right? I don't think there's any flaws really too much with them. So we're going to take a look at Broly. His transformation also heals, which is something that's really good. Up until this point, we haven't seen that as a mechanic on these other characters, right? Kaioken just transforms, you know. The other characters don't heal, they just transform, whatever the case is. Also, 15 counts. That's relatively quick, very early in the game. So Also, the cool thing about him is that in his natural state, just the Super Saiyan form, he also nullifies his unfavorable element factors for 10 counts every time he enters the battlefield. Activates twice, meaning he goes neutral. Yellow characters don't hold an advantage versus him for 10 counts. He does that still, right? The following effects occur according to the number of timer counts elapsed with the character. After a certain number of counts, his arts card draw speed level goes up by 2 levels ultimately. Resets after switching. Like, he's still very good. You don't, and I remember there were several games I won without even needing to transform. He still has blast armor on his strike cards. Very awesome card overall. Now, when he does go ahead and transform, that stuff just gets tuned up to the max. So really, there's no, and again, he draws an ultimate now, plus 20% of the damage inflicted as well. Increasing arch chart draw speed level still kicks in. He also has 15 seconds now of nullification. Like, there's just a whole lot goes into this unit, and I'm surprised I don't see him as often as I once did. The ultimate also gives him key recovery bonus, and also has a chance to do feint. Also has blast damage on the ultimate, and then also he still has the blast damage on strike attacks as well. So phenomenal unit, still one of the best in the game in my opinion. No holes at all, cons none. Pros, I'd say the best things for him are obviously things like going neutral, stuff like that, and also the healing is very helpful for him too in his natural state as well. And other than that, he does have a lot of damage bonuses in his kit. But I think the most impressive thing with this Broly is not a lot of characters can do it, just the ability to be neutral versus your type disadvantaged enemy. So we have the Gogeta Super Saiyan. I recently did a video for him. If you want to check it out, link will be down below. So for him, he also has a added effect on his transformation. After 10 counts, he transforms into Super Saiyan and restores his ki by 40. Also, this guy is a blast/special move expert. For the record, this guy is a strike/special move expert. They're really almost cons of characters, right? That being said, though, plus 20% to special move. After 10 counts, plus 50%. Effect resets after switch or transformation, so he's very good without transforming as well. Plus 40% to damage inflicted for 20 counts. When this character enters the battlefield, restores own ki by 20 when this character evades the enemy's attack with a vanishing step. That's incredibly good viability here. The only real issue I have with this card is it just feels like he's kind of like thin. It feels like he takes a bit of damage. Now, that's something that's also rectified a little bit, a lot of it actually. 80k defense numbers, those are actually very good. I think a little bit of what that is the inability to, he actually has better defensive numbers than Broly, is the inability to really have access to blast armor. Having blast armor kind of changes things on the strike card, that is. He has blast armor on his special move. But that being said, on the strike card changes things as far as Broly's concerned, because that eliminates a whole portion of some damage you could potentially take, because it allows you to take priority back. So overall, that's kind of how it feels with this character, at least by some extension. If you have a 7-star base Vegito, you really don't have that problem as much, for the record, because you got 40% defenses. It's really nutty. But other than that, he has no real issues at all. His main ability now draws a blue card, also heals, and also gives a damage bonus too. And then everything's tuned up to the max as far as what he can do. It's the exact same stuff. Also, he has this thing built in where he literally counters Broly's best traits, one of them anyways, the blast armor on the strike cards, and plus 100% to blast damage inflicted while enemy's armor is in effect. Cannot be canceled. This does not go away. And you know, if they're trying to do blast armor, they take 100% damage from blast cards. Like, that's crazy. That's crazy. A character like SSJ2 Gohan, when he uses ultimate, will completely melt to this. He'll completely melt. I guess he will still take a ton of damage, but he probably won't get KO'd from one blast card if he's gone neutral, because Gohan goes neutral as well. For the last character here, Vegeta, the most recent one, the main redeeming factor for him as far as in his base state is he's still incredibly good. Like, he gets a lot of bonuses as well. And one thing that happens that I love, and I love it so much, is when he enters the battlefield, he gets a 20% damage received cut, minus 20%. So, like I said, Shallot could really benefit from something like that. Also, not only that, he also gets a damage inflicted and a strike damage bonus as well. He also still has blast armor on his strike cards. And then we come down, his special move still heals him. It also has blast armor as well. And his green card still changes blast cards into strike cards. You know, that's something I think they noticed as we got deeper into, like, these newer characters is, hey, yeah, they need to be good in their natural state, because they can't be trash and then, like, Shallot, like, and then just go really, really good, right? And what they've noticed in the last 3 cards is it's just the same stuff, tuned up to the max for sure. It's the same stuff. Like, you have little stuff like, oh, now his heal does 15% instead of 10, right? So it's just overall stuff like that. And then he still gets a lot of the same bonuses, but phenomenal character ultimately. Reduces damage by 25%. Arch card draw speed levels in both forms. Like, he's awesome, man. So thank you all for tuning in. Again, we'll be back tomorrow with a showcase video for these guys, so where I'm not just talking. But anyways, again, make sure you rank them down below. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you leave that thumbs up if this information was helpful, if you guys enjoyed. And I'll catch all of you in the next one.